us there's a palace of immense magnificence. And that's a quote by Teresa of Avila. Welcome back in How to Build Personal Power. My name is Erik van der Graaf and please subscribe if you have not done so before. In this episode you will visualize your personal power. Please, as always, have your workbook or notebook ready or take notes in a copy of my book, Awesome Ego Trip and the Art of Personal Power. And it has boxes for you to write and draw your answers in. So, in the next half hour, I will guide your visualization to several topics and ask you to take notes or make drawings of the things that you see and experience and what comes to your mind. These drawings and notes later will help you reflect on yourself, on responsibility, self-respect, confidence in the universe, a positive attitude, and the flow of change and how this all affects your emotions, your relationships, sexuality, money, the body, and spirituality. Now, when I did this exercise, I decided not to use colored pencils, to my regret. I just used a pen, and later, when I look back at my drawings, I was a bit sad. It was very colorless and not very much inspiring. So I suggest that you use coloring pens so that you can truly immerse yourself later on when you review the outcomes of what you have been creating. So I put on some relaxing music to sort of visualize this or have this as a relaxing experience. And you can do that also, just put on some music that you will relax to. Now, as said, this will totally take half an hour or something, but this video is only 5 minutes. So at certain points I will suggest that you pause this video recording so you can really take notes. Now, it helped me a lot to keep your eyes sort of half closed so you can see between the hairs of your eyes and it's sort of a soft focus. So you can easily switch between your mind and making notes and making a drawing. So that's something that I would suggest to you also. So here we go. Imagine you're walking through a sun-drenched forest. And you walk further and further into this forest until you come to an open place. And in this open place you see a magic palace. And you enter through the gate of this magic palace and you come to this hall inside of the palace. It has many doors. And all those doors inside of the hallway have different colors and different shapes. And you go to the first door and on that door is written dedication. And you open the door of dedication and you go inside. And you let things really work into your mind. What do you see? What emotions do you feel? How does the room look like? What images come to your mind or what feelings? And now I keep my eyes semi-closed while I focus on my experience and while I record those experiences in my book. And while I go in and out of my imagination to discover the room of dedication. Now you may pause the recording here. Welcome back. Now I see myself leaving the room of dedication. And I close the door behind me and I'm back at the palace with all the different colored shaped doors. And I enter the next room. And that next room, that's the room of discipline. I stop for a few minutes to explore this room. I write down images, words or feelings that I discover. I keep my eyes on the in a sort of semi-closed soft focus while I record my experiences. And I go in and out of my imagination and discover the room of discipline. You may pause the recording here. Welcome back. Now I see myself as I leave the room of discipline and I close the door behind me. And I'm back in the palace with all the colored and shaped doors. And as I close this door, I enter the room of my network. Now stop for a few minutes and explore, what is your network? I write down images, I write down feelings, things that I discover. Keep your eyes semi-closed in soft focus and record what you experience. And every time you go in and out of your imagination and take a note, if you look at your room of your network, my network, what is it that you experience? You may pause the recording here. Welcome back. I see myself as I leave the room of my network and I close the door behind it. I'm now back in the palace in the central hall and I choose a different door with a different color. And so I enter the next room, and that's the room of inner guidance. Please review your room of inner guidance and reflect on it. Images, words, feelings that come to your mind as you are in the room of your inner guidance. What do you feel about it? How does it smell? How does it look like? Do you like to be there? You may pause your recordings here and take your notes. Welcome back. I now see myself as I leave the room of inner guidance and I close the door behind me. I'm now back in the palace, in the hall with all the different doors and the different shapes of doors and colors. And now I enter the next room, and that's the room of lightness. I stop for a few minutes to explore the room of lightness. Write down images, words, feelings, emotions that you discover. As always, keep your eyes a bit semi-focused, half closed, while you go in and out of your imagination. The room of my lightness. You may pause the recording here. Welcome back. Now I see myself as I leave the room of lightness and I close the door behind me. I'm now back in the central place. There's another room, and I enter this next room, and it is the room of love. Stop here and look around in this room of love. How does it look like? What is it to you? What feelings do you discover? What words come to your mind? Make a picture of it in your mind and try and make a drawing of it. The room of love. You may pause the recording here. Welcome back. Now I see myself as I leave the room of love. I'm now back in the central palace, and there's a final door. And I open this door and it says, my own truth. I stop for a few minutes to explore this room. Take notes about images, words, and feelings that you discover. Stay in this room of my own truth and explore its fullest. Go in and out of your imagination and take notes. What do you see, hear, feel, think and experience? You may pause the recording here. Welcome back. I now see myself leaving the room of my own truth. And I close the door behind me, and now I'm back in the palace, in the central room where there's all those different colored doors and different shape of doors. And now it's time to come back. I imagine going along all the different doors that I've been into and pondering on my discoveries. Love, lightness, inner guidance, your network, discipline and dedication. I stop for a moment and enjoy my discoveries. And now it's time to go back. So I return to the main gate through which I entered the magic palace. And I go out of the palace and I start walking into the forest. And then I come close to the edge of the forest. I keep closer and closer to this edge of the forest, and finally I leave the forest and I'm completely back. I'm completely alert and I'm completely in the here and now. I enjoyed this exercise and I hope you do also. And then you may wonder what it means to it, what you have discovered in these rooms. Now some people draw a lot, others write a lot, and still others like to work with symbols. It could also be that you just experience a lot of feelings, and that's also good. It's important to know that guided visualizations are not about one way of observing better than the other. We are all different and we enjoy different things, and we enter in different ways into your subconsciousness. So while looking at what you have written in your journal or drawn, ask yourself for each source of power. Does this mean that I have a healthy or unhealthy relationship with this source? If you find a healthy relationship with it, confirm this. Draw strengths from this source that is very valuable to your growth process. If you find an unhealthy relationship, give yourself appreciation for the fact that you have become aware of it. Awareness is always the first step in growing. And also feel compassion for yourself if you find an unhealthy relationship. Unconscious things simply develop as they develop. And you can develop this relationship by redesigning the rooms that you want to change. You prepare the way for this change to happen in your life. Redesign one of the rooms that you have been into. Think of those rooms of personal forces and see which ones do you want to redecorate. You can decide that some rooms are perfect as they are, and that they only need to be painted or need a little bit of wallpaper. And for others, you may think, I really want to restyle this. Well, use your creativity and imagination and design the interior of the room exactly like you want it to be. And describe this new design in your journal. And, more important, spend a few minutes to observe and feel the changes that you have made in your room. Take time, spend time in your room and visit this new room for the next days for a couple of minutes, and you will incorporate fantastic new experiences in this room. You will be amazed about the positive changes that will occur. Growing is fun. Where do you see opportunities for further development? I hope you enjoyed this episode on how to visualize your forces of personal power. Feel free to share these insights with people around you. And remember, I made all the mistakes in growing up and in developing personal growth and in business skills. So you don't have to. See you in the next episode.